Politics is the only business in which you can prove your authenticity by not knowing anything, you know? And I think that's a problem, and we'll pay for it unless we get over it.
If it weren't for Bill Clinton or Hillary Clinton, who would go on MSNBC to bat for the Democratic establishment, even after they have failed miserably in the recent presidential election? So much so that Donald Trump won the popular vote along with the Electoral College vote. Now, Bill Clinton was on MSNBC responding to a question about Trump's second cabinet and whether he was shocked at who Trump has chosen so far. Take a look at what he had to say.
He believes he can just say, well, I appointed these people, they're smart, and they're going to shake things up. But I think that in demonizing all establishments and all people who wear a tie like you and me to work and have a good education, we are breaking down the legitimacy of not only people who may be too sanctimonious and too set in their ways in the past, but also people who actually know things that are very important for us today and very important for our continued growth and prosperity and harmony.
What I think pro-establishment people like Bill Clinton seem to miss is that there is a difference between someone just being unqualified and someone who might be qualified but is just anti-establishment because they are able to see through, a sober perspective that the establishment politics, especially on the Democratic side, has led to basically an exodus of Democratic voters, people who traditionally supported the Democrats but felt increasingly that the Democratic establishment wasn't serving their best interests and were instead going along with pro-corporate policies that were making their lives worse, while also serving up identity politics, which also tends to make their lives worse in some ways. Now, in regard to where the hearts and minds of American voters are, I mean, we just went through the presidential election. I think that gave us a huge clue as to where hearts and minds are at. But more Americans are in fact rejecting traditional establishment political figures because they don't trust them to actually represent their best interests. So this is according to Pew Research. I want to give you some data before we go to Cenk. Just 4% of US adults say the political system is working extremely or very well. Another 23% say it is working somewhat well. About 6 in 10, 63% express not too much or no confidence at all in the future of the US political system. And in a 2022 Pew Research Center survey, majority said the federal government unfairly benefits some people over others, doesn't respond to the needs of ordinary Americans, and isn't adequately careful with taxpayer money. That was in 2022 during Biden's administration. So I just think people like Bill Clinton are living in la-la land because the status quo worked out real well for him and his friends. But for the majority of American voters, clearly that has not been the case. And if Democrats keep taking advice from the likes of Bill Clinton or Hillary Clinton, they're in a world of trouble, because they're already bleeding support, and going in the same direction isn't gonna help.
Yeah, there's two different topics that are being conflated here, so let me break them both down. So first, on the education point that Bill Clinton is making, there is the issue of whether you're qualified and whether being qualified is a good thing or a bad thing. And then there's the issue of your perspective, and that's the one they never address. So is it true that having an education is better than not having an education? Generally speaking, yes, right? An education saved my family's life. My dad was a very poor farmer. He was able to get a free college education in Turkey back in the 1960s, wound up becoming a mechanical engineer, and it led to us eventually living the American dream. So you're not going to get someone more pro-education than me, and I believe that people should be qualified for their positions. Now, having said that, that doesn't mean that you're the best pick. Why? Because what is your perspective? What is your bias? Have you ever even thought about it? Because you have all these people that are among the elites, the establishment, and they do policies that favor their group, which is the elites and the establishment. And they don't even oftentimes know that they're doing that. It's a group think where everyone in that group, everyone in that tribe agrees. They're like, get tax cuts for the rich, that stimulates the economy, right? And they go around the room and everyone is rich and they go, yeah, I love the tax cuts for the rich, love the tax cuts for the rich, love the tax cuts for the rich. Well, let's go do that because that's what educated, qualified people would do. No, brothers and sisters, that's what educated, qualified people that want to help the rich would do. So can you prove that your policies actually help the average man? No, and you don't even bother. People aren't mad at you if you're in the establishment because you got a good education. They're mad at you because of the laws that you pass, using that education for your benefit rather than all of our benefit. So don't come at me with education. I went to the same schools you did, okay? And education, and actually, to be fair to Bill Clinton, saved his life too. Like, I get the value of it. The problem is you're misusing your qualifications to help your rich buddies, and you can't even see it because I'm asking the fish to house the water, and Bill Clinton's answer is what water?
Yeah.
Okay, so now there's a second conflation going on.
Because let me just make one quick comment on that. Look, I totally agree that like people who are qualified should serve in these important positions and all of that. But I think another problem with the Democrats is how elitist they sound, right? Like, yes, we're the smartest, we're the educated ones, everyone else doesn't know what they're talking about, everyone else isn't as qualified as we are. And just stop with that already. Like, they don't understand, I don't think they realize they're doing it, but they're doing it and it's not coming across well.
Well, look, I'll give you a quick personal example of my life. Like, I'll go on NPR or something, actually it's only happened once to my knowledge or to my recollection. And people will be outraged by me because I won't be whispering, right? Tonally, they're like, oh, populist, don't like it, okay? And I'm not in favor of the status quo, so I'll ask them to change things. Like Mitch McConnell, oh, not bad. And Nancy Pelosi, oh, bad. Don't change Nancy Pelosi, right? And so, and they'll assume that I'm a ruffian, a barbarian, a Visigoth.
I mean, okay? A little bit.
Yeah, and well, in my attitude I am, that's right. But so here comes the interesting part. When challenged on like, oh yeah, really, okay, what are your qualifications or education? And then I say, oh, I went to Wharton Business School and Columbia Law School. Every time the reaction I get is shock. They're like, really?
Yeah, you're not.
No one's ever said, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right, in those circumstances. In those circumstances, every single time they're shocked. Why? Because they assume that if you're highly educated, you do sweet little whispers about how the status quo is great.
Wrong again, Bob.
Okay, exactly. When I go wrong again, Bob, they're like, oh, that's not right. Think about it. I'm asking NPR, I'm asking Bill Clinton, I'm asking all of these mainstream media and politicians. Think about your bias. You think you're objective, and all of your positions always help the people at the very top. What a wonderful coincidence. Your education apparently hasn't helped you much, because you can't even see what's right in front of you. All right, now the other issue that they conflate. They say, oh, I can't believe they're attacking our system. Our Constitution is so great. Our democracy should be cherished. Whoa. What do you mean by system? And some on the right, now I've gotten to the point where I feel like they are attacking democracy. And no, brothers and sisters, you're getting the wrong system. We love the Constitution, we love democracy, we love what this country stands for, right? But the system that we're looking to overthrow is the current corrupt establishment system of all the politicians who got there through taking corporate donor money. The candidate with more money wins 95% of the time in the House in congressional elections. So don't tell me they're not corrupt when their number one attribute for getting elected was how much they can make donors happy. We're against that corruption. We're against that system. So don't hide behind the Constitution and pretend that, oh, I can't believe they're saying that this system is wrong. I love the Constitution. Do you? Because the Constitution doesn't say anything about speech being money or money being speech or how donors should be able to bribe you in unlimited ways. An activist Supreme Court made that crap up. And by the way, if you're a Democrat, you pretended to be against it as you sucked in billions of dollars of corporate money and did exactly as they ordered you to, including, yes, you, President Clinton, What did you do at the end of your term? You deregulated nearly every industry so they could set up monopolies, so they could charge us higher prices and totally screw us over. And you did that with your brilliant education.
Preach, absolutely, exactly. So look, I don't know if the mainstream Democratic Party is learning any lessons at all, or if they are learning lessons, if they're learning the right lessons following the shellacking that they experienced in this election cycle. But just a word of advice, the last person you should be listening to if you're in the mainstream Democratic Party is someone like Bill Clinton, because they are not steering you in the right direction.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.